Okay, now Manchester United are already reportedly making moves in the transfer market. They've agreed a £62.5 million deal with Wilson Matheus Cunha and are now seemingly targeting Brian Mbeumo as well. Cass, it's a start, isn't it?
Yeah, necessary. It really is.
Oh, mate.
The rebuild has to start, and, you know, Manchester United are an incredible club over the history of the game in this country, and they need some big signings which are going to make a difference. Cunha is a very gifted player.
I agree.
He can do things that not many players can do
Agreed.
in certain moments, in tight situations, Ali, and also can add assists and goals to that. And you've got Brian Mbeumo, who's been, you know, terrific for Brentford.
I've got to say, Brentford front three are really, particularly Visa and
all
Mbeumo.
pace, all quite direct. I mean, he will come in on his left foot, Mbeumo, and look to try and bend ones in. And his goal record has been sensational. And do you know what impresses me more than anything? He's seen his mates, where he's been part of front threes, leave. You know, if you think of Benrahma and Watkins and, you know, being in that front three, and he's kept going.
Yeah.
He's kept delivering. And that's been the most impressive thing and he's durable. You know, we talk about players sometimes. And
turns up for his work, mate.
Absolutely. How many games he plays.
Correct.
You know, that's one of Salah's biggest assets.
Yeah.
He's durable, week in, week out. You know, you Kirkes at Bournemouth, who literally played every game during the Premier League season. A durable player you can rely on.
Cass, I always remember speaking to Walter, and he'd saying about signing players. Right?
Yeah.
You get thousands and thousands of players, you know, recommended to you. You go and watch them, all that stuff. First thing he used to look at appearances, whether they turned up for their work, whether they were injury prone, or whether they, as you say, the word durable. And it's just so important. You mentioned Salah and Mbeumo, boys like that. Guys that actually turn up, you can rely on them to be there 99 times out of 100. It's so important. Eh?
Well, there's how many players we played with, you know, and who have suffered niggles on a regular basis, which keep them out of a number of games. You know, when Manchester United signed Varane, I remember saying to someone, you'll get 50% out of the season in games, in numbers. Because if you look at his numbers at Real Madrid, in especially La Liga games, he basically averaged about 20 to 22 every season. And saying you'll miss a lot of football because that's been his career. And that's what, you know, Walter's talking about.
100%.
Yeah.
What about United? Obviously, I think those two signings make sense. I think they're excellent players. Would certainly, in my opinion, they would certainly start. See, I think they need start. They need 6 or 7 starters, mate. But because of circumstances recently, it's certainly not going to get any easier for them to sign players and attract players. European football, it's massive, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you've got to hope.
It's the club.
That when you've been a manager, you've sat across players and they want to come, they want to join.
Yeah.
You know? So you hope that player wants to come. And yes, the circumstances are not great. You're not in the Champions League or European football.
But it's still United.
But it's still Manchester United. But you know what? With a big transformation, the year after could be. You could look beyond the year, couldn't you? You could go, well, I want to join now. I want to be part of this team that gets us to the Champions League the season after. You know, and I think you've got to have them type of players in that are going to go, do you know what? I want to come. I know you're not in Europe, but this is a great club. I want to join it, and I want to be part of the next part of the history of the football club.
What about the changes at the club? If any of them kind of surprise you? I mean, for example, what do you think of the future? What's going to happen with Rashford, Sancho, Antony? I mean, that whole story with Antony's been incredible. McTominay will obviously speak about, but even the Antony one.
So many of them.
I'm looking at Antony at United, Cass, and I'm just seeing somebody that is bereft of any confidence. It just looks he's lost the ability, the confidence, everything's going out of his game. Away he goes, fresh challenge, new place, and he's off and running. It's remarkable.
It is. You've got to ask the question, Ali, why these players played their worst football
Correct.
And you know they're much better than that.
It can't all be down to coaching.
No.
There must be an accumulation of pressure, you know, just not a good environment. A number of things, eh?
Well, it could be slight injuries, like we talked about. It could be the relationships between players and manager. Certain players, obviously, Ten Hag might have. He had his run-ins with Rashford, didn't he?
Of course,
it was quite clear. Sancho had his run-ins.
Absolutely.
So why did they play their whilst? I would say it's quite more complex. A combination of things that have made the difference in why so many Manchester United players have played below the par for them. Their level of ability.
Here's my next one to you then. One player who I think hasn't, right? One player who I think has turned up, right? You can argue about pros and cons. Always turned up for his work, gave 100%, and actually was one of the better players. Garnacho, right?
Yeah.
He's not even, for whatever reason, he's not involved in the squad at the weekend. Then that looks as though he's away, doesn't it?
Yeah, look. You can quite clearly see by his reaction that, you know, the way when he comes on and he can literally hit the ground running, he has enthusiasm.
Yes.
But he's also really angry.
He's infectious.
And he'll probably get in the dressing room, and you've been there again, Ali, where you get in the dressing room and who's, you know, shouting his mouth off in the dressing room and upsetting someone. He looks like that type of player to me. I don't know. I can't prove it, but...
But I do know what you mean. I do know what you mean. He looks so he's got a bit of volatility about him.
Yeah, volatile.
But you know, it turns up. What game?
Well, he can come on and change a game.
Of course he does.
He can do that. He's done it before, and he will do it again.
I'm just wondering if the reason he's one of the ones that definitely get money for, and he's maybe need to get money in before.
I just think he's one of them players that probably just can't keep his mouth shut when he gets in the dressing room and is going to say exactly what he feels and undermine the manager to some degree or a coach.
We've had a few of them.
There's loads of them in football. I mean, you could probably name one at every club.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.